Okay, you guys, this is 3.3, subtracting rational numbers, and that's just standard. We will be able to subtract rational numbers, so that's our goal, that you'll be able to do that with an 80% accuracy on your independent work. So subtracting positive rational numbers, and then subtracting negative rational numbers, we take them with just one rule. We're going to rewrite them as an addition of its opposite, and we know that this is what adding the opposite looks like, right? So we have a number p, right, minus a q. What we're going to do is we're going to take our p, and then we're going to subtract. So instead of doing the subtraction, we're going to change it to an addition, right, of its opposite. So I'm going to keep the p, and I'm going to change that subtraction sign to an addition sign. And what's opposite of q? Minus q. Okay, so we're going to do that. So let's write those in that sense. Again, some of you might have to do this manual, like write it down on a piece of paper. Some of us might be able to do it in our mind, so whatever works for you, but let me show you. So in this case, I'm gonna keep the same first number, and I'm gonna add, so I'm gonna change it to an addition. What's the opposite of a positive 2? Because that you're subtracting a positive 2, that will be a negative 2. And then I'm gonna go back to my rules that we did on 3.2 with addition, right? I'm adding numbers with different signs, so I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to say, so I'll start with the one with the greatest absolute value, which is a negative 2. So basically I'm going to say negative 2. So I'm going to say 2 minus 1.5. Okay, let me just show you so that way you can see it. So when I take the absolute value of those numbers, this is 2 and this is 1.5. So I'm going to subtract the smallest from the biggest of the absolute values. So basically 2 minus 1.5, and I know that from the top of my head, which is 1/2. But then I'm going to look, do we have more, do we have more negatives or more positives? We have more negatives, and then you can always go back to your absolute value, whichever one has the greatest. So this one will be a negative 1/2, okay? So that one should be more of a review. So let's go over to the next one. So I'm going to rewrite that as an addition. So as an addition of its opposite. What's the opposite of 2? Negative 2, okay? So then same sign. I'm going to add them together. So 6.5 plus 2, that gives me 8.5. And because both of them are negatives, I'm going to keep it a negative. Remember, we're going to keep that common sign, because if I give you hearts and hearts, you're going to end up with hearts, right? Right here, I basically give you stars, minus hearts, and that's why you have to rewrite it like that. And you're going to end up with one more than the other. Okay, so let me go over here with my orangey. So again, I'm going to rewrite that as an addition of its opposite. So I'm going to rewrite that as an addition of its opposite. The opposite of negative 1.5 is 1.5. And those both are positive, so I'm just going to add them together. Because I get bananas and bananas, I'm going to end up with bananas. Okay, so that's all there is to that. Let me show you how to find the distance between two numbers, and I'll give you some practice. So we're going to go over finding the distance between two numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the absolute value of that subtraction, okay? So then I'm going to do absolute value. So basically I have this, right? Let me color code that so you guys can see it. Okay, so my A in this case, I can just make it like negative 11, right? And then what is my B? My B is negative 5. So I'm going to have to write parentheses there, okay? Because it's negative 5. And that's going to be equal to something, okay? Let's do in this form now. Okay, so B will be corresponding to my negative 5, and then minus A, which is negative 11. So I'm going to write it like that. And I'm going to use my knowledge now, okay? So I'm going to do absolute value. And then remember, I can rewrite a subtraction as an addition of its opposite. So I'm going to say negative 11 plus, what's the opposite of a negative 5? Just a 5, okay? And then in this case, I know, so I'm going to say 11, negative 11 plus 5. So they have different signs. So I'm going to subtract. So 11 minus 5 is 6. And there's more negatives, so it's going to be negative 6. But absolute value makes that a positive, because absolute value is the distance and it's never negative. So that absolute value negative 6 is just 6. Okay, so this one is 6 units. So let's check on this one and see what happens. Color coding. Okay, so then I do absolute value of negative 5. I'm going to rewrite as I'm going to rewrite that as an addition of its opposite. So then again, different signs. So 11 minus 5 is 6, and there's more positive, so that is a positive, and the absolute value of 6 is 6. Voila, the magic of math, right? So this is how we find the distance between two numbers. Okay, let me just quickly do another one without the color coding, and then we'll give you some practice to do. So if I want to find the distance between those two numbers, I'm going to take the absolute value of their subtraction, and I can do it in any way. I can do this one first. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to rewrite that as an addition of its opposite. 8 plus 9 is 17. Absolute value of 17 is just 17. This one right here, so I'm going to rewrite that as an addition of its opposite. Opposite of positive 8 is negative 8. Absolute value bars. And then same sign, I'm going to add them together. So that will give me 17 negative because both of them have the same sign. So I use a common sign. The absolute value of negative 17 is 17. Voila, the same answer. Okay, let me give you some practice. Okay, so the first one that I want you guys, that I want you to do, make sure that you do this on your flip grid, explaining me how you did it. So number one, let's do negative 4.5 minus 6. The second one, let's do 3 1/4 minus 5. The next one over, let's do 5.80 minus a negative 0.30. Okay, and then this one right here, you're gonna find me the distance. So in this one, you're gonna find me the distance of 7 and negative 3. So how many units are they apart from each other? Okay, remember, you can do this. You have a lot of potential. Math is magical, and you are awesome.